I let y'all pick today's challenge, and at 53% of the votes, today's the day we figure out if I can beat Dark Souls with only dragon weapons. Dragon weapons are a small subclass of weapons, ranging from daggers, fists, great axes, and swords, mostly obtained by cutting off the tails of dragons or dragon-related enemies. I'll be writing the script as I go through the challenge, and I feel like this is going to be a pretty easy one. We got some decent weapons obtainable fairly early on in our journey, but I will be banning the Dragon Tooth as I have used it before in a casual playthrough. Like always, summoning won't be allowed, and I can only use dragon weapons to attack, but either way, let's begin. This time around I'll be starting off as the Knight, just because they reminded me of a dragon-slaying war god. I named him Buster Blader and picked the Master Key as my starting item. So after serving my jail sentence, fighting the Warden on the way out, and catching my Uber to Lordran, we now have two weapons we could start this challenge off with. On one hand we have the ultimate noob weapon, aka the Drake Sword, and on the other hand we have the tucked away and often forgotten Dragon Greatsword all the way down in Ash Lake. I decided to go with the Drake Sword just to have early access to a dragon weapon, and because I need at least 34 strength to even use the Greatsword, plus it weighs a whopping 24 units. So either way I'd be going to the Hellkite Wyvern to farm some souls. So after looping around, picking up the basement key, and turning the Wyvern into a printing press, I used the free money gained to acquire a bow alongside some arrows which I used to shoot off the Wyvern's tail, thus granting me the Drake Sword. And now the challenge can officially begin. I made my way over to the Tauros demon for some damage testing, and who knew that plunging a sword into someone's cranium twice would outright kill them? An absolutely wild science experiment gone completely right. That was definitely the easiest Tauros demon fight I have ever had in my life. So after freeing one of Gru's minions from prison, I beelined it straight to the Bell-Bottom boys. And thinking about it now, I don't think I've ever beaten them on the first try in a challenge run. There's just something about them that forces me to readjust myself and how I play the game. Like, you could give me the cheesiest weapon and I'd still fail. One hit immediately cuts the tail off while doing a massive chunk of damage. A second hit brings him down to 2/3. After struggling to remove the item drop screen, a third hit drops him down to half while the second gargoyle makes his appearance. But just like real life, my fat ass is too slow to roll out of the way of danger, so I ended up getting crowned king. After hitting up Planet Fitness, I continued to treat the gargoyle like an Azalea Town slowpoke, causing it to stand there with its mouth open, so I quickly filled it up with some Drake. The second gargoyle likes what I bring to the party, so he finally decides to hop into the fight, but arrives a little too late to make this a true gargoyle gangbang. With just himself to handle all this Drake Sword, he runs out of steam after 5 little love taps, while also awarding me my favorite helmet in the game. So after ringing the first bell of awakening, I head down to Darkroot Garden to pick up the Elite Knight set, and to take on the Moonlight Butterfly. This ends up being less of a fight and more of a waiting game. Because I'm using straight up melee, I have to wait on this little moss muncher to land on the ledge to be able to damage it. If it wasn't for the heal she gets while eating, I'd have gotten her in 2 cycles. The only interesting part of this fight was when I walked into the lingering hitbox of the explosion. Other than that, nothing too exciting here. Heading down to Lower Undeadburg, we face off against the California Demon and his divine dogs. Unlike real life, I sprint up those stairs, easily smoke the dogs, and honestly, without them, this boss is pretty easy. After 3 plunging attacks for sweet revenge, the goat gets put on fraud watch. So back at Firelink's Shrine, I wanted to show off my cool sword to Lautrec, but he kneels over from a heart attack due to the sheer awesomeness of a dragon weapon. With his untimely death out the way, ownership of the Fat Ring and 40k in debt has been added to my name. Down in the depths, we face off against the big fat sloppy dragon. Now the only thing better than some sloppy is that this bad dragon would drop us a new weapon if I cut its tail off. After 6 itty-bitty swings, the tail comes flying off, and I'm free to wail on the boss. Now here's a good question. Why did they get rid of tail weapons after Dark Souls 1? Then after Dark Souls 2, they completely got rid of tail and limb cutting altogether. I'm assuming the answer comes in 2 parts. The speed of the games kept increasing, then having to design a boss with the idea of cutting its tail off kinda limits how you can design a boss, and somewhat limits how people would fight it too. Like, I couldn't even imagine trying to cut Bale the Dread's tail off. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on the mechanic, whether you loved it or hated it. They do bring it back in Night Ranges for the Dragon and Centipede Demon, so maybe they'll keep it around this time. With the sloppy dragon out the way, I quickly made my way to the bottom of Blight Town, which lets us get our very first dragon scale from this random ass chest. Finding myself interested in some new bad dragon toys to play with, I made my way over to the Great Hollow. On the way down, I picked up the Chloranthy Ring for more stamina regen, and thought it would be a good idea to get the Dragon Greatsword since I'm already here, but boy oh boy, after getting cursed in God knows how many years, I decided the juice was not worth the squeeze. For those not familiar with it, getting cursed means instant death to your character, and cuts your HP in half until you're able to cure the curse. So after paying less than the total cost of my wiener surgery to cure that major affliction, I decided to take on the hot spider MILF in my area. A full combo of the Drake Sword takes out a decent chunk of her health, but that damage has really started to taper off at this point, so thanks to her sexy long legs, I'm able to keep a fair distance while still getting in my damage. But once again, I ended up playing myself. I got trapped between those delicious thighs, and she exploded all over me for massive damage. After surviving the clench and getting myself a drink, I go back in and she starts spewing fire out of every orifice, but with a few more slashes, she goes down easy peasy spider breezy, letting me ring the second bell of awakening. While down here, I collected the white spider's soul, and got myself an egg vermifuge by killing her egg boy which can actually be traded in for another dragon scale. I wasn't even thinking about that, I was just murdering for the sake of murder. After collecting a third Firekeeper soul and climbing out the stank pit, I suffered the most humiliating death on livestream. So normally I would just use a bow to take care of him, but oh my fucking why, game? Why did I roll? Why the fuck did you roll? What the fuck? That was not planned. That was not even a bit, a sketch, nothing. That was... I don't even know what the hell that was. I then tried to slay the undead dragon for another dragon scale, but once again the juice was not worth the squeeze. Like always, I quickly ran through Sen's fortress, and here's the golem I never have anything to say about. With the golem's soul in hand, I can later transform it into a dragon weapon, but first we must traverse through Anor Londo. Now in the big AL, I quickly smoked the gargoyles, cranked a shaft, and wondered where the hell Silver Knight San Diego went to. At this point, the Drake Sword is kinda hitting its limits. I'd prove it, but Tweedledee and Tweedlefat over here pieced me up real quick. I was gonna kill Smo first, but Ornstein keeps hiding behind this fat fuck just to put me in a body bag. So I had to change my plans and go for Ornstein first, but the Drake Sword is barely doing any damage to him, but the good thing for me is that I have options. So after grinding the 34 strength needed to wield the Dragon King Great Axe, I realized I royally fucked up. I forgot to pick up Havel's Ring. This heavy-ass 24 units lasagna in the oven DKG is just too damn heavy for my baby legs, and I really need the extra mobility to take on this duo. I make the sacrifice by putting on the Fap Ring. Gooners unite! After losing some weight, it's time to go back in. See, if I knew this was going to happen, I'd have just opted in for more health and endurance and just accepted using the Drake Sword. But now that I have the mobility, the DKG absolutely eats Ornstein's ass up. My attacks might be slow, but this is damage I'm not used to seeing in a challenge run. Like, these damage numbers are higher than some people's fucking credit score. With 3 big bonks, Ornstein is basically down to half health, and 5 more great bonks sends him to the afterlife. I barely dodged the slam after the transformation, but I retaliate with a big hit of my own. After a few more big hits, it seems that every 2 hits staggers Smo, which is kind of amazing. I'm used to just raw dogging this boss fight. I was glazing myself so much that Smo added some ham to the meal, almost knocking me out. With some light dodging and staggers, I'm able to shave off a ton of health real quick. And with 2 more grand slams, the fat boy goes down. For my valiant fight, I'm rewarded with a brief respite in titty heaven. Now with the Lord Vessel in hand, I can take on the second half of the game featuring Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, Lieutenant Dan, and the bullshit of gravity. I decided to put fire at my heels by taking on the hentai monster route first. Ceaseless discharge is as easy as ever. Anytime he misses me with that ugly bastard tentacle, I can get 2 or 3 hits in. My damage, much like my titties, is just too big for one man to handle. Looking back, I really should have made this a Drake Sword only challenge, but God forbid I have some fun. Next up is the Demon Fire Sage, and in my opinion this is the most forgettable boss in the entire game. Imagine being a Xerox of a Xerox. Besides clocking me over the head twice, this Flaming Thought Cheeto barely did anything to be mentioned. On to a better boss. 20 feet down the stairs we encounter Carnage from the hit series Spider-Man.
You killed my brethren! I am going to cut you! You may have defeated everyone else, but you won't defeat me!
Upon entering the fight, I beeline myself straight over to the arena. After damn near killing myself in the lava, good old boy Cletus here starts throwing hands, so I took that shit from him. Trying to process the fact that he got disarmed, I continued my mutilation by chopping his tail off. He then tries throwing the fireballs at me, which gave me a terrible flashback to a previous challenge. Then he just stood there afterwards letting me get in 4 beefy hits before he could leap off the screen, which lets me end his agony. That fight was a riot.
You will pay for that, Spider-Man!
Now with the orange charred ring in hand, I can safely run across the lava, put Solaire out of his misery to pick up her silly boy hat, and slide down to the bullshit of gravity. I'm not even gonna complain this time. She knocks my ass down to the endless abyss like 7 times in a row, then dies in 3 hits. This is my least favorite boss just because of the RNG. With the way the bullshit of gravity was treating me, you'd think I was going up against Madara and his Susanoo. But now I have a question for you. I only used it in 2 locations to save myself some time. I have a mod installed that adds a bonfire outside of each boss's room. In the future, are you okay with me using it only for the Bed of Chaos and Artorias? Both of them have about a 2-minute long run back, and I never fight anything on the way there if I die. Let me know if you're okay with this. If not, I'll just suffer in silence. With that boss out the way, I decided to smash my way through Mr. Bones' Wild Ride, and after getting to Blacksmith Famos, I remembered I forgot to do something very important. So after giving Havel some crazy backshots, I slid on his ring, which drops my weight faster than Ozempic. Back at the Boneyard, Pinwheel unsurprisingly dies in 4 hits, granting me the ability to squeeze more juice from the fires. Then after Scooby-Dooing my way through the Bone Zone, I get half my HP deleted upon entering Mr. Bones' Wild Ride. But luckily for me, the DKG is a legit bone crusher here. Sure, I got a few red swords shoved up my ass, but even that couldn't stop me. Straight up, Mr. Bones was just taking this pounding like a man. Anytime the little bones snuck up on me, either Nito booms them out of existence, or I spam that DKG special attack massive AoE damage. Like I said before, the damage is too good and the axe is too great. I decided I was finally strong enough to behead the Hydra, earning myself a free dragon scale for the process. While down here I also freed Dust from her Halseki no Kuni prison for some later shenanigans. With the Hydra out the way, I took the back entrance to Sif, because I'll be damned if I pay that 20k toll road. This axe feels more like a hammer with the way it crushed that dog. This poor boy goes down in like 60 seconds flat. I gave him a few snoot boops, some pats in the leg, and a big old grand slam before walking away with the Covenant of Artorias. I finally found the balls to take on the undead dragon as Purple Sword, awarding me with yet another dragon scale. At this point I felt more than strong enough to take on Ashley. I beheaded the second Hydra for 2 more dragon scales, and honestly, can we take a second to appreciate how beautiful this area is? I don't come down here often, but I'm in pure awe each time I do. The lake, the endless trees, you really can't tell where the world ends or begins down here. It really is just beautiful. What isn't beautiful was me hitting the mother of all invisible walls, resulting in my balls getting cursed again. After collecting more scales along the way, we reached the end of Ash Lake, and standing before us is the mighty stone dragon. I chopped its tail off, adding the dragon greatsword to my collection. After upgrading the DKG, I went back home, traded with the crow for some more scales and stones, then gave some big bonks to the stray demon. I've already fought 2 of these, and the only difference now is that I'm far stronger than I was before. At this point, there is no challenge. I'm just having fun. Besides being the first demon we ever see, give me another stray demon fun fact. I dare you. I legit can't think of any. But either way, with the demon defeated, I earned myself a slab and picked up my vintage Barbie doll. I warped over to Guinevere's chambers to show her what my long skinny dragon greatsword looks like. She lets out a big sexy moan which alerts her brother, who now wants to see me downstairs. And that poor boy goes down in 5 mighty swings. He never stood a chance. I also got another Firekeeper soul for free thanks to my transgressions, only for karma to bite me in the ass by sucking me into the world's hungriest painting. After letting another undead dragon spew its purple goo all over me, I meet with the rejected snow princess, and gave her tail one big boom for a nice little dragon dagger. She goes invisible, but one whack knocks her out of it, and 3 more shatters her soul while I creed myself off the edge. Since the Pale Daughter is dead, it's time for me to go after the Pale Father. I break open another golem for a broken pendant, then for the sin of default dancing on the Pale Father, he curses my ass sending me to prison, but I immediately broke out just to turn the Grammys off. Nothing of value was lost. After escaping prison, I picked up the Grand Cell key, and I felt like doing a good deed by helping someone out for once. I freed the Firekeeper soul from her prison so I can get more heals per volume out of my Estus. Now with all these dragon weapons in hand, it's time for Seath to have a little family reunion. And with 2 big swings, the Moonlight Greatsword has been added to the party, and you'll never guess what happens after that. I got cursed again. So after fixing that little affliction, I start using the axe of his mother to beat his chalky white ass. You know, if I didn't graduate school with a D in English, I could probably actually write something for this Tentacle Daddy section. Like, I am so fucking tired of editing these goddamn videos. This video is supposed to come out on April 19th. It's April 29th, and I'm still writing and doing voiceover. I hate my life. Anyways, if he wasn't blind, he'd probably have seen this ass beating coming from a mile away. As a parting gift, I gave him a big boom on the house. Oh well, time for new Londo. I rescued another Firekeeper soul from the wild, grabbed the key to the seal from Ingward, and... No!
You are no different.
Oh my god, that was actually a complete fucking accident. I really didn't mean to do that. I went to go take a drink and I accidentally hit that right bumper when I was putting it on my leg. Now I feel like a dick. I was honest to God. Like, my original playthrough, my intentions, right? Is, you can get him to go to Firelink, you just have to talk to him after the 4 Kings, and that's what I was gonna do. Because I don't think most people know you can just do that with them, and, yeah, it doesn't matter now. So after accidentally smoking a man, I open the floodgates, then I just kinda sprint my way to the boss. My life doesn't have value anymore. I put on my Abyss Walking ring, and as you guessed it, I poise my way through the DPS Kings. I think I spent more time waiting for a king to spawn in than actually fighting. I said it before, but I kinda regret not doing a Drake Sword only challenge. But don't worry, I'll punish myself good on the next one. Now it's DLC time. I was trying to be a gentleman by cutting the Guardian's tail off, but this amalgamation just refused my right to do so. So I hit him with a special attack for over 900 damage just for pissing me off. Once again, this is one of those situations where the juice is not worth the squeeze, so I gave up. Who needs a guardian tail anyway when you have all these dragon tails? I put this poor beast out of its greedy misery and somehow killed him as he rammed me. Now it's the man of the hour, buff with abyssal power, that boy Artorias. Turns out I have enough poise to shrug off his attacks and my rolling R1s deal massive damage. I am too damn strong for this DLC because I easily staggered him out of his buffing animation, bringing him down to 2/3. By using my American right to stand my ground, I go nipple to nipple with Artorias, making him wobble like a baby with jello legs. He tried to buff up again, but I smacked the emo out of his 2012 ass. And one more bonk ends the fight. That was probably the fastest and easiest Artorias fight I've ever had in my life. Dragon weapons are going straight to S tier. Since I was live streaming this run, I'll share this with you in full. Oh, Chester, hello. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. Chester, fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Nope. Don't worry, I made sure to dome his ass the second time around. Picked up the silver pendant, then hopped down to the Daddy of Darkness. I really don't know what happened here. All my rolls and iframes went straight out the window. I'm talking about comboed, womboed, biscuit, and the fries. The only thing saving me from a dry mouth was the sippy cup here. I never found my groove on this one. I just had to take that beating like a man. I feel like the game was screwing with me here a little because how did I miss this attack? Usually I put some finesse into this fight, but I had to go full meathead with the rolling R1s. I just had the best Artorias fight, and this is probably my worst Manus fight. With the timeline corrected, I have Hawkeye Go snipe the Bringer of Calamity out the skies, letting us fight him on easy mode. But here's the thing, I can beat Calamite anytime I choose to. I know the moveset very well, but I want that damn Dragon Tail of his, and that tall-ass NBA son of a bitch does not make it easy. 2 or 3 good hits would give me the weapon, but I kept barely missing the tail cut, and he's not going to let you circle around to hit it. Calamite is truly testing my fucking patience here. After 15 minutes of circle jerking each other, I just let him roast my ass. The second attempt goes the same exact way. He's not giving me any openings to hit the tail. At this point, I was just checking text messages and scrolling through Twitter waiting for the right opportunity. Then instead of a text message, nature called, so I had to homeward bone out of there. After taking a quick piss, I remembered I was going about this all wrong. If I want the tail weapon, all I have to do is bait out the flying charge attack and roll into it. After he lands, he slams that thing down, and one mighty swing on the tip of the tail grants me that sweet-ass obsidian sword. Little too late, but I'm a collector of fine things. Now with my collection complete, I don't have to hold back anymore. I straight up mollywopped his ass, gave him several big booms, and even called him Seat the Tailless on the way out. With the DLC done, it's time to cash in my Lord Souls to open a door. And guess what? Gwyn got absolutely destroyed. There's nothing I could say about this fight. 3 swings and he's already lost 1/3 of his health, a little bit of R1 spam brings him down to 1/3, and 1 special attack sends Gwyn off to the afterlife. Well, this playthrough was cursed. Dragon weapons were definitely a little too good. I know someone's going to complain about it down in the comments. If you wanted to watch the full journey of this challenge, the livestream is in my playlist section. I'll do another poll and let y'all pick the next challenge to livestream. I'd be happy if you joined in on the journey, but if you don't, that's okay too. If you enjoyed this video, unfortunately this is probably going to be the last one I'll be editing. The more I edit, the more I end up hating each and every one of these videos. Honestly, Dark Souls 2 with only shields was the last time I had fun editing. October 31st, 2024. So yeah, the challenges will still continue on livestream going forward. This will let me do more challenges while also getting content out to you faster and more consistently. And that's kinda it for this video. Take it easy, and I hope to see you in the next one.